Gather round, y'all, for a tale so dripping with incompetence, so steeped in scandal, and so utterly infuriating that it could only be the handiwork of Justin Trudeau's Liberal government. This is the story of ArriveCAN, or as it's now infamously dubbed, ArriveScam, a mobile app that started as a humble $80,000 idea to streamline border crossings during the COVID-19 pandemic but ballooned into a $60 million, or is it $80 million? Monument to Liberal corruption, mismanagement, and sheer audacity. At the heart of this fiasco is GC Strategies, a two-person IT staffing firm that somehow pocketed $19 million for doing little more than playing middleman, while the Canada Border Services Agency, CBSA, and Trudeau's cronies turned a blind eye to the chaos. Buckle up, because this thrilling saga of greed, deception, and taxpayer betrayal will leave you equal parts enraged and entertained. Let's dive into how the Liberals' insatiable appetite for waste and favoritism turned a simple app into Canada's most expensive punchline. It's spring 2020, and the world is reeling from the COVID-19 pandemic. Borders are slammed shut, and Canada needs a way to manage travelers while enforcing health protocols. Enter ArriveCAN, a mobile app proposed by the CBSA to collect health and travel data from entrants, vaccination status, quarantine plans, the works. On paper, it's a sensible idea. The Liberals, ever eager to flex their "we saving the world" muscles, greenlight the project with an initial budget of $80,000. Sounds reasonable, right? A quick, functional app to keep Canadians safe. But this is where the Liberal playbook ghostwritten by incompetence and cronyism kicks in. Instead of tapping the government's own IT resources, the ones we pay for with our taxes, the Liberals decide to outsource the job. And who do they turn to? Not a reputable tech giant or even a mid-sized firm with a track record. No, they hand the keys to GC Strategies, a two-man operation that's less Silicon Valley and more two guys in a basement with a Wi-Fi router. Thus begins the Liberal-engineered descent into chaos. Picture this: GC Strategies, a company so lean it could fit in a broom closet, is awarded a $2.35 million contract in April 2020 to spearhead ArriveCAN's development. Founded in 2015, just as the Liberals swept into power, this firm consists of two guys, Christian Firth and Darren Anthony, who don't even write code. Their business model: act as middlemen, subcontracting the actual work to others while charging a juicy 15 to 30% commission. It's like paying someone to order your Uber Eats, and then tacking on a $1,000 service fee. By the time the dust settles, GC Strategies has pocketed $19 million for ArriveCAN, part of a staggering $59 million in government contracts since 2015. How did they land this gig? The Liberals rigged the game, of course. The Auditor General later revealed that GC Strategies helped write the contract requirements they won, ensuring the criteria were so restrictive that only they could qualify. This isn't just favoritism. It's a masterclass in Liberal-orchestrated corruption, where insiders get rich while taxpayers get fleeced. The Canada Border Services Agency, tasked with overseeing ArriveCAN, deserves its own chapter in this sordid tale. Under Liberal oversight, the CBSA turned a blind eye to basic procurement rules, tossing transparency and accountability out the window like last week's Tim Hortons cup. Auditor General Karen Hogan's 2024 report was a scorcher, calling out the CBSA's glaring disregard for basic management and contracting practices. No competitive bidding. Check. Missing documentation. Check. Paying invoices with zero details on what work was done. Double check. The CBSA handed GC Strategies millions without so much as a post-it note to justify it. And when questions arose, senior bureaucrats like Min Doan, the CBSA's then Chief Technology Officer, allegedly deleted tens of thousands of emails related to ArriveCAN because nothing screams, "We're innocent," like a digital shredding spree. The Liberals' hands-off approach fostered a culture where public servants could cozy up to contractors over whiskey tastings and lavish dinners, all while taxpayers footed the bill. This wasn't just mismanagement, it was a Liberal-enabled free-for-all. Let's talk numbers, because this is where the Liberal government's incompetence hits peak absurdity. ArriveCAN's budget started at $80,000, modest, reasonable, achievable. But under the Liberals' watch, costs spiraled to an estimated $60 million, a 750-fold increase. Some reports peg it at $80 million, but who's counting when the CBSA's record-keeping is so abysmal that the Auditor General couldn't even pin down the final tally? For context, 2 developers at a 2022 hackathon recreated ArriveCAN in 2 days for $250,000. Meanwhile, the Liberals' pet project burned through millions, with $53.3 million going to the app's health component and $6.2 million for a digitized customs form. External contractors, like GC Strategies, charged $1,090 per day on average, compared to $675 for in-house IT staff. Why outsource at all? Because the Liberals have bloated the public sector by 40% since 2015, but apparently forgot to hire anyone who could code. This cost explosion wasn't an accident, it was a direct result of Liberal cronyism and a procurement system designed to reward insiders. You'd think a $60 million app would be a technological marvel, right? Wrong. ArriveCAN was a glitchy disaster that wrongly sent 10,000 Canadians into quarantine, causing mental distress and financial hardship. It was so clunky that border agents called it a waste of time, and travelers loathed it. By October 2022, when COVID restrictions eased, only a fraction of travelers still used it, yet the Liberals kept pouring money into its 177 updates. Why? Because nothing says we care about Canadians like funneling cash to cronies for an app nobody needed. The Liberals' insistence on keeping ArriveCAN alive, even planning to make it a permanent border tool, reeks of a government more interested in justifying its spending than serving its citizens. Pierre Poilievre wasn't wrong when he called it ArriveScam, a symbol of Liberal waste that could have funded housing for the homeless instead of enriching a two-man firm. If the cost overruns and glitchy app weren't bad enough, the Liberals' cozy relationship with contractors takes the scandal to a whole new level of sleaze. GC Strategies didn't just cash checks, they wined and dined CBSA officials, hosting whiskey tastings and lavish dinners to celebrate ArriveCAN's 1-year anniversary mid-pandemic, no less. Imagine the gall. While Canadians were locked down, these insiders were clinking glasses and laughing all the way to the bank. When Botler, an AI firm, raised red flags about misconduct involving GC Strategies and other staffing agencies, the Liberals' response was to bury the evidence. The CBSA's internal investigation was referred to the RCMP, but senior bureaucrats like Cameron MacDonald accused each other of lying, and thousands of emails mysteriously vanished. The Liberals, with their NDP allies, even voted to shut down parliamentary hearings after a scary, secret report surfaced, proving they'd rather sweep this under the rug than face accountability. This is the Liberal brand: protect your friends, dodge the truth, and let taxpayers clean up the mess. After all this $60 million squandered, rules ignored, emails deleted, and Canadians misled, the Liberals finally took action in November 2023, suspending GC Strategies from federal contracts. But here's the kicker: the ban lasts only 7 years. 7 years. For orchestrating one of the most egregious abuses of taxpayer money in recent memory, GC Strategies gets a temporary timeout, free to return in 2030 to fleece us again. This pathetic penalty is peak Liberal corruption, a government so spineless it can't even muster a permanent ban for a company that helped rig a $19 million contract. The Liberals' new Office of Supplier Integrity and Compliance, set to replace the integrity regime in May 2024, promises stricter rules, but don't hold your breath. If history is any guide, it'll be another Liberal photo op to distract from their failure to hold insiders accountable. The ArriveScam saga isn't just about one app, it's a damning indictment of the Liberal government's entire approach to governance. Since 2015, Trudeau's team has presided over a 40% expansion of the public sector, yet somehow, they lack the in-house talent to build a simple app. Instead, they've created a procurement system that's a candy store for insiders like GC Strategies, who've raked in over $100 million in contracts alongside other firms like Dalian Enterprises and Cordix. The Liberals' refusal to use competitive bidding, their tolerance for missing records, and their cozy relationships with contractors scream corruption louder than a foghorn. Conservative MPs like Stephanie Cusey and Michael Barrett have been relentless in exposing this, but the Liberals, backed by their NDP pals, keep stonewalling. The RCMP is investigating, but don't expect Trudeau to lose sleep. He's too busy blaming everyone but himself. This is the Liberal legacy. A government that takes your money, gives it to their friends and calls it public service. As of October 2024, the RCMP is still digging into GC strategies and ArriveCAN, with allegations of fraud and misconduct hanging in the air like a bad smell. The Auditor General's report was a wake-up call, but the Liberals' response has been to double down, insisting the pandemic justified their recklessness. Newsflash: an emergency isn't a blank check to throw money at cronies. Canadians are fed up, and the Conservatives, led by Pierre Poilievre, are capitalizing on the outrage, branding ArriveCAN as the poster child for Liberal waste. Posts on X echo the sentiment, with users like at Kirk Lubimov and at Larry Brock MP calling out the Liberals' refusal to take responsibility. The House of Commons Operations Committee has tried to unravel this mess, but Liberal stonewalling and deleted emails make it clear: accountability isn't in their vocabulary. If you're as furious as we are, check the Auditor General's reports at www.oag-bvg.gc.ca or report suspected fraud to the Canadian Anti-Fraud Centre. This scandal isn't over, and neither is the fight to hold the Liberals accountable. So here we are, Canada, staring down the barrel of a $60 million disaster that could have been a $250,000 app. ArriveCAN didn't just fail. It was sabotaged by a Liberal government that prioritizes insiders over taxpayers, cronies over competence, and cover-ups over clarity. From rigging contracts for GC strategies to ignoring basic procurement rules, from cozy whiskey tastings to a 7-year punishment that's more like a vacation, the Liberals have turned ArriveCAN into a symbol of everything wrong with their rule. This isn't just a scandal, it's a betrayal of every Canadian who trusted their government to act with integrity. As the RCMP digs deeper and taxpayers demand answers, one thing is clear: the Liberal corruption that fueled ArriveScam is a stain that won't wash out easily. So grab a double-double, Canada, and let's keep the pressure on until every last cent and every last lie is accounted for. Power's sexy, deception's deadly, and politics always messy. High stakes, higher lies, and corruption. Power isn't taken, it's bought. Politics has never been so dirty, and baby, we're just getting started. Until the next scandal, XOXO.